End Gemini. Um, Today, we're going to get started with a story about the Menendez brothers. I'm not sure if you guys are familiar, or if you remember the story about the Menendez brothers, but back on my birthday, August 20th, in the year of 1989, Kyle and
Lyle.
Lyle and Eric Menendez actually shot and killed their parents. They lived in California. The dad was like an executive, and they're in prison now. They're both facing life. But the reason why we're going to talk about this story today is because there's actually a new development. I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with Menudo, but they were this big boy band back in the 80s and 90s, and it was an all boy band. One of the members actually came forward about 3 days ago. His name is Roy Rosello. I want to make sure I get his name right. Roy Rosello. And he's actually claiming that the dad, Jose Menendez, drugged and raped him back when he was in the group Menudo. And he's actually going to be doing like a documentary. It's called The Rosello Story, and it's scheduled to air on April 2nd on Peacock. Do you remember this story, the Menendez story?
Yeah, I was a kid at the time. I remember it. But they did allege that their father had molested them, and
Mm-hmm.
that's why they killed him. And they killed the mother because they said she knew about it, but she didn't do anything to stop it. And they end up killing both of their parents, pretending like somebody broke in
Mm-hmm.
and got the money and started spending it like crazy. And I think the reason why they were caught is because they actually, well, I forgot which brother, but one of the brothers went to a therapist and told the therapist what had happened, and she reported him to the police, and that's how they got caught. But now with this new story, it might be evidence to suggest that they did kill their father because they were being molested.
Mm-hmm.
And right now they're in their 50s. They've been in prison since what, 94, 95.
Yeah, because they actually had a couple of trials, if memory serves me correctly. Like one trial was a hung jury; they could make a decision. So then they tried them again a couple years later, and then they were found guilty. Um, and I remember, because I did follow this story, and I actually watched several documentaries. There's been a couple documentaries, and even like a tell-all movie about this story, and I watched them. And in the beginning, honestly, I was like, these are just spoiled kids that couldn't wait until their parents died for them to get their inheritance, because they were rich. Um, and because as soon as their parents were murdered, they went on a shopping spree. They bought cars, they bought watches, expensive cars and watches. So in the beginning, when I first learned about this story, I was like, oh my god, these fucking kids just killed their parents, for the inheritance. They couldn't wait until their parents died of like natural causes or something. But with the documentaries and family members and people that know the family, they were like something was not right there. The mom was she like attempted suicide a couple of times, and I guess now maybe it was because of the guilt because she didn't do anything to stop the alleged abuse. And then now with this guy coming forward, which brings me to another question, is like, why did this man wait so long? Like, obviously, he heard about this trial, he heard about this story. If he was also a victim of Jose Menendez, why didn't he come forward and say, hey, I was abused by this man,
Hmm.
during the either one of the two trials that these boys had?
Well, you got to remember, this was 30 plus years ago. So I don't know how old this guy is today, but he didn't want that scrutiny. He didn't want the cameras and lights to be on him because everyone would have focused in on him during the trial. So he was part of that group Menudo. So he's not trying to bring any negative attention. He's just trying to let sleeping dogs lie and not get involved in any of that shit. But now, if he's telling the truth, he's doing the right thing. So it's better late than never. But that would have significantly helped the brothers in their trial because it would have been a case of like temporary insanity, or it would have been an issue of, hey, they tried to pay their dad back for what he did to them and
Mm-hmm.
stop the molestation. So I don't know if they'll get a new trial because of this. I don't know if they already exhausted all of their pleas,
Appeals.
not pleas, but their
Appeals.
appeals. So I'm not really sure, but I think that if he's telling the truth, they should get a new trial to
Yeah.
explain why they did what they did, and that's what they said. And I don't know if they ever deviated from that story, and if they never deviated from that story, then they should get a new trial.
Yeah, but that also brings the question like, even if they get a new trial, they've already been in prison for like 30 some odd years. So it's kind of like time served. And also, I mean, at the end of the day, they did still murder their parents.
Yeah,
So
yeah, but
I don't
people,
know how that's going to work out.
that's fine, because people they kill somebody and they'll get 30 years. So, like you said, if it's already time served, they already got 30 years. It really doesn't matter. They can let them out, and I think that's what it might boil down to. They won't acknowledge that they made a mistake and not believing the brothers, but they will say like, "Hey, look, they served their time. They did get molested. That led
Hmm.
to them doing what they did, and they did their time. Let them out
Yeah, I'm
because I
I'm
think they
gonna.
got life, right?
Well, yeah, they did. They both got life, and I'm actually gonna check out this story, the Rosella story on Peacock on May 2nd, because I want to see what he has to say, and um, I also want to see, like, hopefully they'll ask him questions, and it's not just him like kind of giving
No, I'm
you
pretty
know,
sure they're gonna
the
ask him
real.
questions about what happened and details, and
Yeah.
he might not get explicit, but he's gonna definitely tell them what
Hmm.
happened.
Yeah.
And after that, they should interview the Menendez boys, and they can verify what he said.
Yeah. That's why I want to see, because I want to see how this plays out. But yeah, so that was that. So, let us know what you think about that. And
Yeah,
want
let's
to get
move on
into
to
the
this
next one,
next
Miss
topic.
Queen Jackson.
This is Queen Jackson. It's a sad story. Queen Jackson, age 67, has been charged with manslaughter in the weekend shooting death of a young family member outside of a North Houston funeral home. According to the Houston Police Department, the 22-year-old victim was her great nephew, and he was shot in the head after an argument during a funeral for Jackson's brother. Jackson claims she meant to shoot her gun into the air to
Mm.
break up the fight, but it struck the nephew and killed him instead.
Oh.
And this is crazy. I wanted to talk about this because I've had situations close to me where people fight at funerals and pull guns on people.
Mm.
And this what happens when family can't get along and they started to disagree and fight, and it shows you how fucked up the family is because she actually brought a gun to a funeral service. So she probably knew something was going to transpire at that particular time. That's why she did what she did and shot the gun into the air. But I don't know how you shoot a gun into the air and then it fires and shoot the kid in the head or shoot the guy in the head, the 22-year-old in the head. Only thing I can think of, she was trying to pull it from her purse or wherever she had it. Her finger obviously was on the trigger,
Mm-hmm.
and when she was trying to raise it up, it fired, shot him in the head, and now you go from a funeral to planning another funeral
Yeah.
over some bullshit.
And not to mention also her going to jail and needing bail money.
Yeah,
Um, yeah, this is a sad one. I mean, she's 67 years old, so her nerves probably was bad, and that's probably why, like, when she went to get the gun, it accidentally went off. But also, too, I mean, you asked the question, why did she bring the gun? We don't know why that family member, how that family member died. Was he killed? Was he in a gang? Like, did they need that protection for that reason? Or,
well, I doubt if he was in the game because that was her brother, and she's 67, unless he was
mhm,
really, really young. I mean, it could have been a situation where they had a disagreement prior to that, and something happened, and he ended up dying, or whatever it may have been. It may have been over, he maybe had some money, and people were fighting over that, or we don't know.
yeah.
So it just seems like it was a dumbass thing to do for her to bring a gun to a funeral parlor.
Hmm.
Like, what the fuck are you gonna get out of that?
Well,
You
also
can't break up a
maybe
fight by shooting a gun into the air. That's crazy.
exactly, definitely not. I guess maybe to scare them. Also, she probably just carries a gun everywhere she goes. You know what I mean? But this is sad, man, because that's like her great nephew that she shot in the head. And then, it's just, oh my gosh, that's heartbreaking. But yeah, she probably just carried the gun everywhere she went. We don't know what part of town that was in. Where was that in? Was that like in? I think that was in
Yeah,
Houston.
it was in North Houston. I don't know if that's a good area of Houston or a ratchet area, but like I said, it's a funeral home,
Hmm.
and this is Texas. Texas people have guns. Old lady
Yeah.
carry guns in their purses all the time.
Hmm.
I keep telling people Texas is the wrong place to try to run up and pull a gun on somebody or
Or
try to fight them
carjack or rob.
or do whatever because
Hmm.
they can turn the tables on you and something bad can happen. And she was doing a good deed to try to break up a fight, but she went about it the wrong way, and now it's devastating for both families,
I
and there's no
know.
recovering from this. If their family seems like they were already at odds, so you can imagine where they're going to be at now that she shot and killed her nephew,
Yeah.
or her great nephew. So that family's probably going to be pretty fucked up for a while.
I know. It's so sad. We had to pray for all of them.
Yep. So that's some crazy shit that
Yeah.
happened.
Yeah. Unfortunately.
Mm-hmm. Let's get into this
All right.
next
You want to get
topic.
into this one? This one. I'm sorry. I'm laughing. It's probably isn't as funny, but I just think this is a funny story. So this Walgreens. Yes. This Walgreens employee. Let me give you his name. His name is Martarius Boyd. He's only 21, folks, so keep that in mind. He worked for Walgreens, and he actually shot a pregnant woman. She was 7 months pregnant, and he shot her. And this happened in Nashville, Tennessee. Um, he actually shot her because she was stealing from the cosmetic section. Now, he didn't stop her while she was in the store. He followed her to her car and then tried to confront her. And she pulled out maced him, and then he shot her. So he is claiming self defense. He's like, look, I didn't want to shoot her, but she maced me. So he shot her. But yeah, he's only 21 years old. And the woman that he shot that's 7 months pregnant, she ended up having a C section, an emergency C section. And her name is Trayvon Travansha Ferguson. Am I saying that right?
Yeah,
Travansha?
Travancha.
Travansha
Travancha.
Ferguson. Yeah.
Well, this is a case of I don't think a 21-year-old should be a security guard. I don't think a 21-year-old should be a police officer, and he just acted out of his job description. I'm not sure if they tell you, hey, if somebody is you catch somebody stealing in the store, you don't follow them to the parking lot and try to get the items back because this is Walgreens. They're completely insured. Nothing that they took could replace that couldn't be replaced. Nothing that they stole couldn't be replaced, right?
Right.
So the fact that he was able to take his dumb ass out there, try to stop this lady, and then end up shooting her somehow. And what
Mm-hmm.
happened was the friend was, I think it was a friend or a relative, but the girl that she was stealing with was actually fighting with him, and they were beating him up. And then I guess he felt attacked. He said he feared for his life. That's the quote that he used.
Yeah.
He feared for his
Oh,
life. And he
that's the
pulled a
quote you
gun.
have to use if you're trying to
Yeah,
get away with claiming self defense. You have to say that.
but if he went against policy, then he can be in trouble. And the family, even though I bet you they haven't said it yet,
Mm.
but I bet you anything the family is going to sue Walgreens.
Yeah, I would.
They're going to sue Wal.
Well,
Well,
I don't know
no,
though because he took it upon himself to follow her.
I mean,
Like I said, it's not like he confronted her in the store. And first of all, listen, how much can she possibly how much worth of merchandise could she have taken in
in
the fucking
California,
cosmetic
it's
section?
$900 worth.
Well, yeah, in order to like get prosecuted in California. But my point is, what she could have been stealing from the cosmetic section is not worth him going to jail over and taking her life. Like, bro, I'll be like, fuck it, take it. It's like that's not his personal property.
But
The
he's
store's insured, and even if you are gonna try to stop her and you see her shoplifting, approach her while she's doing it. How are you gonna wait until she gets out the store, follow her, and then confront her in the parking lot? Like that's asking for trouble. At that point, you're asking for confrontation. What did he think was gonna happen?
and who pulls a gun on a pregnant woman? He pulled his gun on a pregnant
Well,
woman.
she maced him though.
Well, the friend maced him. The friend maced him, and I don't know if she maced him when she saw the gun
Mm-hmm.
or he shot her, then she maced him. Which I
I don't
have
know.
no idea. But you shoot a pregnant woman, she gives birth,
Mhm.
and I think the baby is okay. I'm not sure,
Yeah, thank goodness. Like they performed an emergency C-section and the baby is okay.
and I feel sorry for the mother because maybe she was stealing that those cosmetics so she can provide for her child. Maybe she was stealing that so she can go sell it on the black market and get money for her soon to be newborn baby.
No, that's not no excuse.
It's not an excuse, but it's still it's
Uh-uh.
not an excuse. But I'm just saying. But I'm not gonna shoot somebody. First of all, it's not my shit.
Mhm.
If you break into my house and try to do something, okay, something bad might happen. But if I'm working at a store and you decide to steal anything,
Take it.
that's up to you.
Take it,
Take it.
bro.
I mean, I'll call the cops and they can come and get you, and we can go from there. But I'm not gonna sit here and try to stop somebody from
Mhm.
stealing some cheap ass cosmetics at Walgreens and possibly land myself in jail. I don't know if he's gonna be charged. Was he charged or not?
They didn't say. Well, no,
It's still
actually, the
pending, right? It's still
article.
pending.
When I read the article, the day that the article printed, he still had not been charged.
Okay, he's
So
probably
they
not
were
gonna be
still like
charged.
reviewing everything. So
Right.
maybe it's possible the charges may be brought against him later. But at the time of the article, there were no charges filed
Nah,
against
they're not
him.
gonna bring charges against him. I think that in this country, and they're just tired of people stealing shit. I
Hmm.
mean, look in San Francisco, they closed every single Walgreens in San Francisco because people just kept looting the stores, and that's why they end up doing what they did. So, if you take this to a jury, they got to go to a grand jury to see if it's going to be indicted. I'm pretty sure if they take that to a grand jury, they're going to say she did something that she shouldn't have done, and they're going to refuse to press charges or decline to press charges.
Yeah.
In what city was this in?
Um, I'm
I
not
think it was
sure if I
Tennessee.
remember. Hold on. Yeah, Nashville, Tennessee.
Okay, yeah,
Nashville,
no,
Tennessee.
no, they're not pressing charges against this guy.
You don't think
No, and I think the girl with her name's Travansha, I think she's black.
so?
They're not gonna. If you shoot a black person for stealing, the grand jury. If you shoot a black person for stealing, the grand jury is not going to indict you.
Okay,
I
but
think
here's
it's
the
I
thing.
think it's a less likelihood of you being charged with a crime if you shot somebody and you had a good reason to, and that
Mhm.
person happens to be black. That's what I know. What do you think?
I mean, here's the thing though. He's black too, and he has
I
a
know.
criminal record. Like he's been arrested before.
Yeah, but he's a security guard.
So
What do you mean? So
if he
if
been,
he if you're a
hold on,
hold
babe.
on hold on, if you're a security guard, he's doing his job.
It's
The-
not.
his-
Listen, he's no longer doing his job if he's following her out in the parking lot. Your job is to secure the inside of the store, the
right.
inside of the store. And obviously, he wasn't doing a good job at his fucking job if he's watching her
Well,
shoplift and then follows her outside.
if he had a criminal record, he probably thought like, "Damn, I'm gonna lose my job if I didn't stop these people from stealing." And they probably gave me a chance based on, my past. I shouldn't have had a job, so they gave me a chance. So I need to look like I'm a good employee. So let me run after these people and try to stop them from stealing. So I could see him doing that for that reason.
Well, I
But
mean,
his criminal record has no bearing on whether or not he's going to be charged because he was actually in the process of doing his job. Maybe he went outside the boundaries of his job, but I don't think a jury is going to look at that and say, "Oh, you acted with excessive force." I think he did, but if they play the scenario out the way it actually happened, maybe there's footage of it. If she maced him and he pulled a gun and started shooting and accidentally hit the girl, then I don't know. I don't know if it was deliberate or it was an accident, but
uh-uh.
you pull a gun. I didn't even know Walgreens had armed security.
Yeah, I know. Normally they have like the runner cops with just mace. Maybe that was his mace.
No, I think it was. I think they probably planned that shit. I think that girl came there. I don't know if it was her sister or a friend. Came there with a plan. Hey, you steal this. I'm gonna take this, and if they try to follow us, we're just gonna mace them.
Yeah, but see, that's the thing. He was asking for trouble by following them. He should not have followed them. If you're gonna try to stop them or have them, put the items that they had in their purse back or whatever, you
Right.
do that while they're in the store.
Yeah, but
He was asking for trouble. Like, what the hell did he think was gonna happen? First of all, it was just one of him and two of them. You know what I mean? And then he's following them.
I don't know how
He
it
was
all played
asking for
out.
trouble. I'm sorry.
I have to get more details to really make a judgment on this. I think that he went outside his job description. Walgreens
he
actually
definitely
tell their
did.
employees don't run after people. If they make it outside the store, they make it outside the store.
Hmm.
If you can go out there, get the license plate, and then write that down and give it to the cops,
Yeah.
then do that.
Yeah,
That's
that
your
would that would
that's
have
part
been
of your
better.
that's part of your job description. But like I said, I didn't even know they had armed security, so maybe he wasn't even supposed to have that gun.
Oh
We
God,
don't
that's
know.
another thing. Yeah, we
So
don't
we got
know.
to follow up on that. Let's make a
Hmm.
note, follow up on the
While you
Travansha.
make that note, I actually want to make a correction.
Oh yeah.
So last week, guys, shut up. Last week we were discussing a story about a man that he actually shot and killed a bartender who refused to serve him alcohol, and when and I had said, he had got 9 months probation, and Lavelle was like, no, he killed her. There's no way he could have gotten 9 months probation. I'm like, well, yeah, that's what I read. So I did read that. I did read that he had 9 months probation, but this actually was not for this case. Apparently, this fool. And let me give you the background. His name is Juan Cho, and he's 52. So he did get 9 months probation sentence for an assault back in 2015. So apparently he smacked another customer in a Korean restaurant back in 2015. So I don't know if they refused to give him something he wanted. But
He just went around smacking Asians
smacking Asians
and
who were
Koreans.
not
But to
serving
be
him.
fair, he's Asian, so
He-
it's not Asian hate.
Well, that's true.
He's
That's
Asian
true.
as well,
Yeah.
so don't
Yeah.
put
But-
that narrative out there like he was just slapping these people. Not that you were, but like don't feed into that with people like, oh, it's just Asian hate, and he
Mhm.
went and started beating up Asians because they're soft targets and
Yeah.
all that bullshit. No,
Yeah.
he knew
But-
his people.
Yeah, but so for that slap, back in 2015, he only got 9 months probation. Now for this one, I'm pretty sure he's gonna do a lot more time
Yeah, he's gonna
than
get.
that.
He,
you
how old
know.
is he? 52.
He's 52 years
Yeah,
old.
he's not getting out. They give him
Mhm.
30 years. That's a life sentence at 52
Mm-hmm.
for the most part, and he has a history of that. They'll tack on
Exactly.
for something for his priors. They'll probably add another 10 years to that 30.
Yeah.
Make him around 92 before he gets his crazy ass out, and he can get sober because only a raging alcoholic would do something like this.
Yeah.
So
Unless
he's
he
fucked
knew
up.
her, like we don't know that they like personally know each other.
I don't know. I know growing up like in the hood, we would go to like these Asian markets and they were rude. I don't know why.
Yeah, but they're always rude to minorities.
Yeah,
They
but
don't,
maybe they treated him like a minority.
Mhm.
And they were rude to him, and he got tired of that shit. But a lot of them are. I don't know what it is. They're taught to have a certain, I guess, toughness in their eyes, where they treat people like shit when they go into their establishments.
Mhm.
That's why I don't go to any. It's not against all Asians, but there's some racist ass Asian people that don't like black people going into their store. They'll follow you around. They're very rude and they mistreat you, and they're in our communities.
Mhm.
But this is not that situation. But it could have still been a situation where they were rude, and some people just don't like to be, not defending him, but some people just don't like to be mistreated, and maybe he felt that way. But it's still not a reason to shoot somebody because they
Well,
refuse to
no.
serve you some
Alcohol.
fucking beer. Go to the store; it's cheaper anyway.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Cheaper and it's safer. Drink at your house.
Yep, exactly.
All right, so I did want to make that correction before moving
Finally.
forward because I didn't want to forget.
I was waiting on that, and I was like, "Damn, she better remember this."
Of course, I remember.
Okay,
All
I
right,
don't want
so
no problems there.
shut your ass up. All right, let's move on to the next one. This
No,
one
thi-
is
no,
your-
thi-
this is one of your favorites.
Which one? Oh no. We're gonna go to this one right here first. This is crazy. This is a
God,
crazy
not
story.
that one.
This is a crazy story. I'm gonna play the clip right now so you can see exactly what happened with this story. Hold on. Okay, this guy was shot because the cops went to the wrong address. They were going for a domestic violence dispute and got the wrong address. So they knew they had the wrong address and they were trying to figure it out. And this guy comes outside with a gun. The cops end up shooting him.
But this was after they had already banged on this man's door. So they banged on this man's
But
door
see, that's the
and
thing,
then
they were-
said, "Oh, is the address 40 such and such?"
Yeah. Hold on, let me play this real quick.
New Mexico police have released body cam footage showing what happened when 3 officers responded to a call and showed up at the wrong address. The homeowner was shot dead. CBS's Michael George has more and a warning. The video is disturbing.
A knock on the wrong door
Farmington, please.
ended with deadly consequences.
Hey, hands up!
It happened April 5th when dispatchers in Farmington, New Mexico got a call about a domestic disturbance. Someone on the call clearly states the address.
5308 Valley View.
But Farmington officers go to 5305 Valley View instead. Body camera footage shows the officers knock and identify themselves. But then they question whether they're at the right home.
5308 Valley View Avenue had a confidence factor.
Don't tell me I'm wrong.
Seconds later, the homeowner opens the door.
Hey, hands up!
Damn.
Farmington police say all 3 officers opened fire, killing 52-year-old Robert Dotson. His teenage daughter called 911, likely not realizing her dad was shot by officers themselves.
There were gunshots in the house and my dad was shot.
Farmington's police chief says Dotson pointed a gun at an officer before they fired.
It starts with us not getting off to a good start and making a mistake and going to the wrong address. But it ends, honestly, with something you just don't see very often, with Mr. Dotson coming out with a gun and then pointing it at the officers.
Neighbors call it a tragedy.
It could have been any of us doing this exact same thing, trying to protect our family.
The state police are now investigating.
I'm extremely remorseful over the whole event, and I extend nothing but my deepest condolences to the Dotson family.
Now, Farmington police are not releasing the names of the 3 officers. They've been placed on paid leave. And Washington Post data shows that fatal police shootings in the U.S. have actually reached a record high last year, with 1,096 reported. Adriana?
That's crazy. They go to the wrong address, realize they're at the wrong address, but right when I think they're getting ready to leave, he comes out with a gun. And he does point the gun at the officers, and they fire back. Well, he didn't even fire. He fires, the cops fire at him, killing him. And the wife was coming with her husband. She had a gun with her, and I think she fired at the cops as well. So they fired back at her. And then she's crying, and then the daughter is upstairs. She hears a commotion, and she calls the cops, saying someone shot her dad, but not realizing that the cops are the ones that shot him. And this guy is a 52-year-old white guy. So it's not going to be any protest for this guy. It's not going to.
There should be.
Yeah. And if you're like Ben Crump, the guy the ambulance chaser that goes and to any place where the cops have done something wrong to a minority, he should actually do this just to show that I'm against all police brutality, but particularly, black and brown police brutality, because it seems to be more rampant within our communities. But at the same time, he should go and do something about this. But maybe he tried. Maybe the family denied it, because this is a white town, it looks like. And
in Farmington, New Mexico.
Yeah, so, but isn't that crazy? They're banging on the door, and the dispatcher tells them it's the wrong address. It's not 5305, it's 5308. And it's illuminated. The sign, the numbers on the house, the address is illuminated. You can clearly see that they're at the wrong address. And you can tell the cops, it looks like they're like, oh, shit, we're at the wrong address.
Yeah,
you
but
can see it looks like they
after
them
banged on the freaking door.
Right. But then they realize, like, oh, we at the wrong address. And I'm not defending the cops in this situation, but why do you come to the door with a fucking gun? You don't always have to come to the door with a gun. You have a peephole. You have a window. You could have looked out your window and was like, who the hell is out there? But now people are so eager to say, oh, I shot somebody who tried to break into my home and I handled it. And they like to brag about shit like that. I think it was one of those things where he could have easily, if you look at the house, there's a window right there by the door. He could have looked out the window and saw, like, these are police officers. Why are you why are you stepping outside of your house with a gun?
Okay, that's true. But on the flip side, if it's the middle of the night, you're sleeping, you're startled by banging, you're like, what the fuck is that banging? Oh my God, like, I hope nobody's trying to break in. You're going to go for your gun.
Go for your gun, yes. But to come out with it, I'm just not doing
I
that.
know.
If somebody breaks in the house, I mean, you take care of them. But if somebody's knocking on the door, it's 2:00 in the morning. The last thing I'm gonna do is open the door.
Yeah.
That's the last thing I'm gonna do. I'm gonna look out the peephole. I'm gonna look out the curtains. I'm gonna call the cops and say if somebody's knocking at my door, I can't really see who it is. It's 2:00 in the morning, but I got my gun ready. If he comes through that door, I'm shooting. But now people are so eager to pull a gun and shoot people who come to their front door. It's getting scary.
Yeah, no,
Like the black child, man, we don't have his name.
I know. Who
but
knocked on the wrong door.
he knocked on the wrong door, and they end up shooting him.
Mm-hmm.
This crusty ass 84-year-old cracker shot this kid, and twice because he knocked on his fucking door. And there was another case, and this happened. I forgot. I think in New York State. I can't remember, but it happened recently. These group of young people pull up to a house. They think it's their friend's home, and they realize, oh, we're at the wrong house. So they put the car in reverse, and they get ready to back out to go find the correct address.
Yeah.
This guy, 65-year-old, comes out with a gun and starts shooting into the car.
Mm-hmm.
Hit the girl in the head. She dies on the scene, and I think he shot another person as well. And it's just crazy how people are so quick to come to the door with a gun and to open the door.
Yeah.
And these kids were in the car. And this guy came out and started shooting into a vehicle because he thought it was a threat. And that's just some crazy shit.
I think it's like everyone is kind of like on edge now and paranoid and scared. And those that do have guns, they're like shoot first, ask questions later. You know what I mean? Like I don't know what is going on, but everybody's like on this high alert of just paranoia. You know, we're seeing a lot of cases like this.
Yeah, they taking a page out of the police.
Mm-hmm.
You see, a lot of people, they're shooting these people. What are they saying? I feared for my life.
Mm-hmm.
Or let me shoot them and kill them. And then if they're dead, how can they testify against me?
Yeah.
But fortunately, in all these cases, the black kid that got shot, he survived. The girl that got shot because they went to the wrong house, her friends, they survived so they can testify to what happened. And then the guy that got shot in his home, his wife obviously was there. They got body cam footage. So there's always going to be some witnesses and testimonies in these cases.
Mm-hmm.
So then that can stop. I mean, the first result of you being startled shouldn't be like, let me get up and start shooting at people.
Yeah.
Like let that not be your first action.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't open your door at 11 o'clock at night or 2 o'clock in the morning. And did they have the spotlight on, right? You've seen that video. They had
they had that bright light.
Yeah, it's just I'm not blaming this guy, but don't come.
I don't know. I mean,
I just can't come out of your house with a gun. I'm calling the cops first.
Yeah.
You got a gun. If they break through that door,
Then you can blast them.
you can shoot them. If they break through that door, call the cops first. But we don't know if there was like break-ins prior to that in that neighborhood, and he just said, enough of this. I'm coming out. I'm shooting these motherfuckers.
Yeah, maybe he thought that someone was trying to break in his neighbor's home. Like
well,
he
no,
probably just thought it was like banging. He's like, "What the fuck is that?" You know, let me go see. Or
I just still think he should have
we don't know what he
looked
was
out
thinking.
the window, but he's dead.
I know.
So,
It's sad.
You know, the police, y'all got to do better.
Mm-hmm.
How do you
And
go
then
to
what's
the
up with all
wrong
these cops that
address?
y'all fuck up and y'all still get suspended with pay?
Mhm.
Like
Mhm.
nowhere else, if you mess up, you just losing your job with no pay, or look for another job.
I don't know how
But
this
all
is
of
gonna
these
play out.
officers, like they shoot and kill people, and okay, yeah, you did wrong, but take a vacation. We're still gonna pay you. Just don't come into work. Like that's ludicrous.
Right. You want to follow up on this story?
Oh, speaking of cops, you want to give the background on this? So
No, this is the.
no, I want to do this.
No,
one.
this one. Do this one,
All right.
and then we go to the other one.
All right. So for this one, we do have video. So in Philly, of course, there was this. Apparently, someone broke into a mint truck, and stole like $100,000 worth of dimes. Dimes. You heard me right, guys. Dimes. That's a lot of fucking dimes.
Exactly. Let me play this real quick. From ABC 6 News in Philadelphia.
Mhm.
Let's see.
Action News.
Action News this noon is developing right now. $100,000 worth of dimes was stolen from a tractor trailer in Northeast Philadelphia.
Yeah, take a look at Chopper 6 here. Shows all those dimes there. You see them scattered across a parking lot. This is at Philadelphia Mills, just off of Woodhaven Road. Now, police sources say the parked trailer was filled with about $750,000 in dimes when this break-in happened overnight.
Action News reporter Maggie Kent is live there on the scene with the latest from investigators. Maggie.
Sarah and John, this is incredible when you think about the magnitude, the amount of money that we're talking about, and the amount of dimes that means. Police were estimating about $100,000 was stolen. That means about $1 million dimes was taken from this trailer that's parked between Walmart and the Mavis Discount Tire and Lomax Carpet and Tile Mart. It's in the Philadelphia Mills Shopping Center. Chopper 6 was overhead this morning. The sparkling, shining pile of dimes spilling out of that parked trailer in the parking lot just off the mall. The cargo was loaded up at the Philadelphia Mint yesterday. Police say the truck driver parked here overnight. He went home not far away and got some sleep before a long day of driving down to Florida. But when he returned in the morning, he found somebody had broken into the trailer using bolt cutters and stolen hundreds of thousands of dimes.
Right. And they were trying to cross-load the dimes into other things to carry it away. There's dimes all over the parking lot.
I feel like if they try to go to the bank and cash all of it in, then they're going to get caught and they'll be like, well, where did you get all these dimes from?
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah, good question. Police are going to have quite the project here. There was an estimated $750,000 worth of dimes inside that trailer to begin with. So in order to tally and clean up everything, it's going to be quite the project, of course. Again, they estimate about $100,000. It's hard to exactly know for sure how much was taken overnight. But this is an area with a lot of surveillance cameras. Police are hoping that that surveillance captures the people who are responsible and, of course, what kind of vehicle they got away in. We're live in the Northeast. Maggie Kent, Channel 6, Action News.
I bet you.
I'll let you.
I bet you they're still driving all around the Northeast, going to different banks and Walmarts and, you know, those coin centers and trying to like cash out. They're probably still like, I don't know what day this happened, but I bet you today, like right now, they're still trying to cash in those dimes because you can't go to just one place with all those dimes.
You can't go nowhere with those dimes.
It's a lot. Like $1 million dimes. Like, come on. But here's the thing, too, though. The guy that was driving the truck, how the hell are you going to leave the fucking truck there with money? I don't care if it is dimes. You're going to park the truck up in the parking lot and then go home and go to sleep. Like, that's a little suspect, too.
I know. It sounds like an inside job. Maybe it didn't come from the truck driver, but somebody who worked at the mint company knew he would go and park his truck right there. And then, you know, he leaves and go take a nap and then comes back and they ripped off $1 million dimes. And it's so fucking crazy because
they carry all those fucking dimes. Like, I know, like, they couldn't get all of them because there was a lot scattered in the parking lot. So obviously they weren't able to get all of them. But still, like, how do you carry that much worth of dimes?
no, it's easy. Just go back and forth. They're probably young people that went in there and, you know, several bags they had to take from the truck to the car.
That's crazy.
But I think it was an inside job. If it wasn't, maybe somebody said, hey, let's go see what's in that truck. And somebody brought some bolt cutters, cut it up, cut the lock off, and went and stole the dimes. But you would think if you're getting somebody to take dimes, I think he was taking them to Florida. If you got somebody that's going to take dimes somewhere, why not load him up when he's ready to actually drive out there? Don't load him up and then say, oh, go home and park the truck over here and go home and go to sleep. That sounds fucking ridiculous.
Well, that's another thing we don't know. What if he wasn't supposed to go home and go to sleep?
Yeah, I don't know.
You know
maybe
what I'm
he
saying?
wasn't.
Maybe he was supposed to be on his way to Florida.
And I'm pretty sure the FBI is investigating him right now.
That's crazy.
Because you can't steal that many dimes. But the fact
How are you
is,
gonna get rid of
you
it, though?
dumbasses, you're not going to be able to get rid of all these dimes.
A lot. You can't.
There's no way to get rid of these dimes. It's
And nobody's
not
going
gonna
to want to
happen.
take it. So it's not like you can go to the bodega and be like, and get some snacks and shit. You go in with a lot of dimes, everybody's going to be suspicious. Like,
Right. It's going to be too many. They're going to investigate it. There's certain crimes that you shouldn't commit because there's no way you can get rid of certain things.
They're going to get caught eventually. Like, you can't, even if they were on drugs, right? Like, they can't even go to a drug dealer and try to get drugs with those dimes. Like, even the drug dealer's going to be like, fuck that. I don't want those problems.
Exactly. So you dumbasses who stole that shit.
Yeah, you're gonna get caught.
It's a funny story,
you're gonna
though.
get caught.
It's a funny story, man. I would love to have a, camera on them just to see how they're trying to get rid of these dimes.
There's a lot of surveillance there because that's in the shopping center where the mall is. So I want to see that video, like seeing them like struggling trying to get all of those dimes, and
right. I want to see how
I want to see that.
I want to see how they're trying to get rid of them. I wish there was a camera following them around, almost like a reality show.
I'm telling you.
Where you're just like, how the fuck are we going to get rid of these dimes?
Exactly.
We just committed a crime, and it's a lot of money, so it's not like it's a misdemeanor.
It's going to take
just because it's dimes, you don't think they're going to charge you like they would if you stole $100,000 in
money
cash?
Is money.
Yeah, it's money.
Money is money. They're still going to get a lot of years. But yeah, like I'm telling you, they were. Right now, as we speak, they're probably still driving to another city and trying to figure out how they're gonna cash in those dimes. I could see them at the Walmarts. You know how they have the Coinstar, and putting the change in there to try to cash it out.
And that's gonna trigger something because those things are being read, obviously by the machine.
Yeah.
So if they calculate that, somebody just dropped 10,000 dimes into a Coinstar, and they're gonna see they got surveillance. Hey, who was putting money at that time? All that shit is time stamped. So they're going to catch these people. Maybe they already have. This story is like a week old. We'll see. They caught these people, but it's crazy. We'll follow up on that as well.
That's just too funny, though. Like, I can't. I would love to see the surveillance, to see them struggling, trying to get those dimes. Like, holy shit, there's money, y'all. Let's get this.
What we going to do with these fucking dimes?
I don't think they thought it through. If this was not an inside job, let's assume it's not.
And because
they probably was just like, holy shit, look at all this money. Let's take this fucking money.
You know what makes me think it's not? I think it was, but a part of me that think it's not is because there was so many dimes on the ground. If they knew it was in there, they would have just taken it and been more careful about it.
Yeah.
The fact that they spilled dimes all over the damn parking lot and.
Well, I'm thinking they probably were like just in a hurry. Like, we got to hurry up and get this shit out of here. You know what I mean? Like, so I guess maybe bags broke, or they were just like, I don't know. Like, I would love to see the surveillance on this.
All right.
I'm telling you, they still right now trying to get rid of that money.
Oh my God.
Or not trying to get rid of it, but trying to cash it.
They're gonna be on like
trying
the
to trade
world's
it.
dumbest criminals. You know, they just fucked up.
Yeah.
But all right, let's move on.
All
right, let's move on to our last story here. This happened in San Antonio, Texas.
Of course, here in San Antonio. Cops are always into some shit here.
You want to talk? You want to lead it off, or you want me to do it?
No, I think you got this one.
Okay, there was well, you actually have it written out or what?
Well, it's.
Oh
okay,
no, let me do it. This is a funny story. The Bexar County Sheriff's deputy and another sheriff's deputy was messing around with the dispatcher, and her husband found the text messages on the phone and reported it to her boss. And one of the guys that was messing around with this dispatcher, his wife also caught him and turned him in when she saw the text messages. So they were meeting each other outside of work, having their little sexual rendezvous, and, you know, sending each other like crazy ass explicit text messages. There was these right here. Yeah, we're gonna read some of this, some of the text messages. Okay, the first one.
Did you wanna?
Yeah, this right here is the one where, hold on. This is the one where he talks about let's meet up, right? Okay, this is what he said. Okay, the guy says, I likes that.
And then she responds, "That's how you make me feel. Not sure how that is for you."
And he says, I feel so hot and sexy when I'm inside of you.
Oh my God, I'm sorry. And then she says, fuck yeah, you do. I can feel it and I love all of it.
And he says, we need another hotel day.
And then she put yes with 5 exclamations.
And he says, nonstop for as long as possible.
So now she's like, when do you go back to nights?
Friday.
So we know what happened Friday, y'all.
These dumbasses. And then you got the husband who has no shame. He's like an emotional cuck. He's an emotional cuck.
Oh, he was hurt.
Well, I'm not going to show my face on camera if my wife was messing around with multiple guys. She was messing around with at least 4 different officers.
Sergeant, and like 3 different cops.
Right.
Yeah, she was like, ugh, she's getting it in with everybody.
Right. And let me play this from the San Antonio News.
New tonight, a scandal unfolding within the Bexar County Sheriff's Office involving explicit text messages between a married dispatcher and several deputies.
Officials confirm 3 people have already been recommended for termination. Jay Avila with the News 4 I-Team says more deputies are under investigation.
According to Sheriff Javier Salazar, the employees deny having sex or doing anything inappropriate while on duty. However, 2 spouses who shared the texts with Internal Affairs and with News 4 claim the messages show otherwise.
Overnight 911 dispatcher Crystal Perez has been placed on unpaid administrative leave, along with Bexar County Sheriff Sergeant Ronaldo Salinas and Deputy Juan Leal. All 3 have received notices of proposed termination.
Their conduct, apparently during the course of the investigation, was found to be egregious enough to where we would issue those proposed terminations.
Many of the texts are too explicit for us to share. Sergeant Salinas to Dispatcher Perez, I feel so hot and sexy when I'm Perez. I can feel it, all of it, and I love it. Salinas, we need another hotel day. Deputy Leal to Dispatcher Perez, I can't wait for us to be naked and us caressing each other and then kissing each other all over. Perez, expletive, yes.
She
just loved my life, and it was very distraught.
This is the husband.
This is the cuck husband.
Oh, he's not a cuck.
He is. I would never. If he wanted to dime his wife out, no pun intended to the people in Philly who stole the dimes. But if he wanted to dime his wife out and actually put her on blast, don't put yourself on blast by coming onto a news program and showing your face.
And your name. Yeah.
What's his name? Giancarlo Perez. All right. All right. Okay.
Breaking, I was in disbelief.
The dispatcher's husband, Giancarlo Perez, discovered texts between his wife and 6 sheriff's deputies, plus a city.
It was 6 of them.
Damn.
That's what they know about. Ooh, boy, she probably
Damn,
sore.
she was a busy girl.
I know, she was sore, boy. I mean,
she's a 911 dispatcher and getting in with at least 6 deputies
6
and her
deputies.
husband.
He probably wasn't getting none. That's why he
damn.
put his face on camera.
Of Converse police officer. In December, he gave them to Internal Affairs, and an investigation was opened.
They use emojis to reference body parts, and they would talk about, kissing, making out, and all these, like I said, just sexual connections.
Perez took screenshots of the text from his wife's phone, and many of the timestamps are missing, so it's not clear if the texters were on duty. But in one thread on a Friday night at 10:20 p.m., Sergeant Salinas tells Dispatcher Perez, I get off at midnight, came in early.
Very hard for me to read.
I can imagine.
This is the female cuck because she put herself out there as well. What the fuck is wrong with both of these people? These 2 should be together. The husband that got cheated on and her. They should be together because they're dumb enough to put their face out here for everybody to make fun of. I'm not feeling sorry for you. You're not the first person that was cheated on. I mean, damn.
Jessica Jarvis is now divorcing a fourth sheriff's employee who is being disciplined. Investigator Jason Jarvis received a proposed suspension of 30 days.
These are people that are supposed to be protecting us, supposed to be serving, and making sure the community is safe.
Come on, they are. They're not fucking on the job.
Yeah,
They're
but
still doing their job. They're just like, come on.
And the lady, the
That's
dispatcher,
ridiculous
right?
for
And
her
the
to
dispatcher,
say.
she was serving the officers.
So she was
Shit.
serving the community.
Exactly. She helping relieving stress. That will cut down on shootings. The cops won't be so irritable. They're less likely to shoot somebody when they pull them over.
Oh my God.
I think that explains why we don't have that many police shootings in San Antonio.
That's true. Maybe
So
she shouldn't lose her job after all.
Right.
And but hold up, and that's
dispatchers
another
keep
thing.
it up.
I'm gonna let you finish that video, and then I'll get into my comments because I got some comments about this story.
All right. Let me take it back a little bit.
Suspension of 30 days.
These are people that are supposed to be protecting us, supposed to be serving, and making sure the community is safe.
While details of the investigation remain secret, it does not appear anyone broke the law, but those disciplined allegedly violated
something
sheriff's office policies.
Certainly the case is being taken seriously, and quite frankly, I believe it's quite possible that some people are going to lose their career as a result of this.
It is still possible more deputies could be disciplined. The employees facing suspension and termination can also appeal their punishment. Jay Avila, News 4 San Antonio.
Go ahead.
So a couple of things. First of all, I don't think this should have been like on the fucking news. Number one.
I do.
I don't. There's people cheat all the fucking time, right? Just because, she works for 911 dispatch and there's, cops and a sergeant that's all banging her. That's not news in my opinion. There's more serious shit going on. That's number one. Number two, the fact that they got fired, they got suspended without pay is not fair. We literally just covered a story about cops killing somebody and they fucking get suspended with pay. So that's another issue I have that's wrong with this fucking story. Okay, yes, they may have violated company rules and policy, you know what I'm saying? Granted, I give them that. But to suspend them without pay, come on now. The only people that they hurt was the ones, their spouses. But fuck, that shit happens every day. Like, I don't think this is newsworthy. It's funny, it's entertainment, you know what I'm saying? But I don't think they deserve to lose their jobs without pay.
You're right. They only hurt their families.
Yeah.
And hurt her vagina.
Well, I doubt her vagina was hurt because she wanted more and more, and she probably had a couple of other guys as well. So
that was a gangbang.
Yeah. She might be a nympho.
No,
she might be a nympho because come on, folks, like I'm all for stress relievers. And
yeah, but
sex, that's all good.
That's I don't know.
It's just a lot of partners.
It's just a funny story that she was able to hide that for so long because they said she got caught in December.
Mm-hmm.
So she probably was doing it like at the beginning of last year or something, and her husband noticed something was off, and she left her phone out, and he saw text messages, and this fucking cuck
he screenshotted them.
Put himself out there so everybody knows who it is. Mm-hmm. This is the dumbest shit I've ever heard. Everybody gets cheated. Not everybody gets cheated on, but cheating happens. So you're not the first one. You're not going to be the last. For him to put his face out there, and then the lady. Yeah. This is the fourth sheriff's deputy that she's going to have to divorce. Why do you keep picking men from this litter? There's a bunch of people in San Antonio.
Cops, yeah.
There's millions of people here. Find someone else.
Well, cops, everybody knows cops are the biggest hoes.
I mean, she made an ass of herself, and she looks like she wants sympathy. The husband looks like he wanted sympathy. Mm-hmm. Maybe they can get together and sympathize with each other. Mm-hmm. And
that's what they should have did. Like, they shouldn't have fucking put this on blast like that. And for her to be like, oh, we trusted them to serve the community. Mm-hmm. Well, bro, they are still serving the community. You know what I mean? Come on.
I think even the who was that? The sheriff?
Mm-hmm.
He said, the sheriff even said, like, they didn't break any laws.
I know.
I mean, but it's maybe fraternization in a work environment. You can't have it. But are they really in the same department if they're actual officers and she's a dispatcher?
Exactly. That's not even in the same department because she works in the dispatch center, which is like the call center. And then the other guys were like cops and one sergeant. So it's not like they're all in the same.
And one was from another city. He was from Converse.
Converse, yeah.
Yeah. Mm.
She was a busy girl. My
was
gosh.
busy.
Busy.
And she can't. I think she tried to come out and say that, oh, we didn't do anything.
Well, yeah,
but
she
if you
tried
read
to lie,
that,
but the text messages. Come on now, girl. You can't.
Because she talks about going to a hotel and
another.
again.
She said another. She said, when are we gonna have another hotel night?
He said, I likes that with an S. He puts an S on it.
should have said.
I likes that.
He should have said, me likey.
Let's read it again. Saying, I likes that.
And then she says, that's how you make me feel. Not sure how that is for you.
And he says, I feel so hot and sexy when I'm inside of you.
She said, fuck yeah, you do. I can feel it and I love all of it.
And he says, we need another hotel day.
And she put, yes. When do you?
No, he's nonstop for as long as possible.
Now, she's already ready. She's like, when do you go back to nights?
He's like, Friday.
Oh, man.
Oh, you fucking dumbasses. This is a great story, man. We got to follow up on this one.
I know. Well,
It's
we
really-
already know what's going to happen. They already lost their job and no
they
pay.
have.
Well, I'm sorry,
no.
not lost their job, suspended without pay.
Exactly. So they might be disciplined, but I want to know the disciplinary action for something like this.
And I want to know if they're going to appeal it. If I were them, I would appeal it.
On what grounds?
Don't they have a union? I mean, isn't this
Well, the
what unions are for?
well,
For
I don't know.
The employees that fuck up and should be fired,
I
but
don't
no,
know.
the union's like, no, y'all can't do that.
I don't know if she's in the union or not.
I don't know.
Maybe the cops are. I'm pretty sure that the cops are in the union. But this ain't the first time that happened in San Antonio. It was another, I don't know if it was the Bexar County Sheriff's Department or the San Antonio Police Department, where two cops, and they did get fired because they were on duty.
Yeah.
And she was having sex, well, they were having sex with each other off duty.
In the police cars.
In the police cars.
Mhm.
I mean, can you?
That's what I'm saying. I'm sure this happens everywhere all the time. You
Well,
know
it
what I mean?
does. It just
now,
don't- it
with
just don't
them,
get caught.
they deserve to be fired because come on, now y'all fucking while y'all on the clock. You know what I'm saying? But with this story that we just covered, no, like they weren't doing it while they were at work. She was still working and she was just doing this stuff after work. You know what I mean? Just like the patrolman and the sergeant.
Well, obviously she would have to be off the clock because she's a dispatcher.
Mhm.
But what if those cops were still on the clock and they're supposed to be patrolling the streets or doing whatever they're supposed to be doing, and they're meeting up in hotels? So they're gonna look into that, and I don't think they have the timestamp of the text
'cause
messages.
That's what they said. They didn't have the time.
But they can subpoena that and get the timestamps, and then go from there. If it turns out, on Friday, yeah, he did say Friday.
Mm-hmm.
So on Friday at 12 noon, you're supposed to be patrolling the south side or the east side or whatever part of town, but you were at this hotel. We all have a digital footprint now. You cannot get away with anything. Everything is stamped, especially if you're a cop.
Mm-hmm.
But
like I said, I'm gonna stick to what I say. Were they wrong because they were cheating on their spouses or significant others? Yes, but it happens all the time. It's not. In my opinion, I don't think it's worth them getting suspended without pay.
I mean, I don't care either way. I'm okay with it. If they suspend him, I'm okay. If they don't, I'm okay with that. But definitely, they're gonna make her the fall guy, and she's gonna get suspended and fired probably. I think so.
I don't know.
I think she's gonna get fired because
yeah.
they're gonna see her as a troublemaker, and you can't have a woman who's in the workforce and every guy knows now that this is the one. They put her. I don't agree with the news putting her face. She's not a criminal. Why are y'all putting her face and her picture out there? You don't have to. If the husband, if he wants to come out and put his face out there, and people can go back and say, "Oh, his name is Giancarlo
Perez.
Yeah, got his name, and people obviously can go on Facebook. Oh, this is him, and that's his wife. You can put two and two together. It's not difficult, but I don't think the news media should be actually putting her face out there. That is not right. Maybe the sheriff's deputies. I don't even think they should put there unless they were on duty. But if they weren't on duty, why are you putting their face out there? It doesn't make sense.
Every time there's disgraced law enforcement, they do put their face on the news.
I guess, man, but it's a big, big, big pond in San Antonio. There's a lot of fish in the sea. Go somewhere else. Get your rocks off somewhere else, and you don't have to shit where you eat. And they shit it where they ate. So for that, how many was it? That's 2.
Bang 6, so do 6.
3, 4, 5. And for the husband that made himself a cuck. All right, we're out of here.
Guys, thanks for listening to another episode.
Yeah, thanks for listening. We have our podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, and obviously YouTube. And we're in the next coming weeks, we're starting a sports podcast.
Same name.
No
End Gemini.
Actually, it's No End Sports.
No End Sports, no Gemini on this one?
Because we're going to distinguish that. But it's going to be all about sports. And also, you can catch me on Hard R Comedy. I do another podcast. It's a more probably disrespectful podcast with my friends Daniel and Rylan. And go check us out on that as well. It's called Hard R Comedy.
And it's R, the letter R.
The letter R. And we're just going to be bringing y'all some, good content. And obviously, coming up, we're going to talk about the elections here in San Antonio because there's a proposition on the ballot that we need to vote no against because it's telling people that they can steal and up to $700 worth of items, and it's just a misdemeanor. But we'll get into that later. But thanks for watching. Thanks for listening.
And, leave your comments. Let us know what you think about this episode or any other of the episodes that we've done. Like, subscribe, all of that good stuff.
Right.
And we will see you next week.
Right. And go Sacramento Kings.
Yes,
They've
and
made
Sixers.
The
Oh,
Sixers.
I got my Sixers
they
t-shirt on. Go
they
Sixers.
made the Kings made the playoffs for the first time in 16 years. They're the number 3 seed in the West. The Phillies are in the playoffs again, but they go almost every year. Not the Phillies, but the Sixers. And they're the 3rd seed in the East, so maybe they can meet up and they'll face each other. And the Kings can put the smackdown on Philly.
Yeah, whatever.
And this for stealing those dimes.
Go Sixers. Let's get sweep.
All right. See you guys later.
Peace.
Good show.